Hey folks, it's Patriot Nurse. Today I'm going to help you make a poor man's medical chest. Why do I call it a poor man's medical chest? Because the reality is that people are broke. And if people are broke and we have a way to mitigate cost for health care by preventing things and we can do it on the cheap, we're going to do it. So my goal for today is to help you, even on very minimal budget, put together a kit and to make sure that you have these 10 things we're going to cover today that you're going to need in order to form effectively a bare bones coverage with maximum capability for application in different scenarios. So my one assumption here is that you have access to clean water. And that is a luxury that we have and a blessing that we have in the developed world. But in the United States, maybe not so much anymore. If you look at, for instance, different places in Michigan and, the water supply that's being contaminated or absolutely evaporated by these data centers, then you may or may not have access to clean water. But if you've got clean water, that's kind of the prerequisite for really dealing with lots of different things. Now, this poor man's kit that I'm going to cover today, we're going to save a really, really important one that has benefited mankind, that was developed in the Middle Ages to the very, very end. So we're going to cover that at the end, so stay tuned for all of our 10 poor man medical kit implements. The first is honey. Now, real honey is expensive and hard to come by, but just a little bit goes a long way. And if you happen to frequent Chick-fil-A, you'll know that there are little honey packets that are available in their dine-in options. So you can get yourself some chicken nuggets and make sure to really, really enjoy your honey. But why do I say honey? Honey is a wonderful improvised ointment for various different things. It has been utilized in the care of burns, of wounds, of cuts, scrapes, pretty much anything topically for thousands of years. The ancient Egyptians used this. They stored it in their tombs, actually, to send people into the next life with it, because you never know when you're going to need a poultice of some sort. So the honey actually acts as a wonderful ointment topically, not only for burns, for wounds, for bites, scrapes, but also you can utilize honey in the preparation of different teas to help when you're dealing with respiratory issues. So really the bulk of what I'm covering here is kind of building off of what I teach in my online course, The Foundations of Medical Prep. The 3 areas that you want to cover are respiratory diseases, digestive diseases, and wound care. That's the real big 3 areas that tend to get people long-term health-wise and even short-term with emergencies. So honey allows you not only a capability to make an ointment, an application for skin issues, but also for supporting the body during respiratory diseases. Because when you have warm teas that are going in, having honey as part of the tea or part of the preparation that you use will help soothe the throat, and also it helps to add a little bit of sugar. So it's helpful. It's not the number one go-to, for instance, for people dealing with low blood sugar issues, but it is a sugar. It is more of a complex sugar, obviously, than fructose or glucose, but it is a way to get sugar into someone. The second thing that's in the poor man's medical chest is salt. Now, salt, of course, was effectively the currency back in Roman times for the Roman Empire. That's where we get the term, oh, he's worth his salt. Salt was something that was really expensive to acquire, but not anymore. Now, you can have arguments about what salt is the best salt. The bottom line is sodium chloride in some form is going to be helpful for a variety of applications. If you're someone who's dealing with sinus congestion or respiratory issues, creating a saline wash, a simple saline wash with salt, is something that's going to help you cleanse your nasal passageways and to prevent the spread of disease up into the sinuses and the worsening of respiratory disease. But also you can utilize salt in the preparation of an oral rehydration solution, which is necessary for keeping fluids down after people have, for instance, had really bad bouts of diarrhea or of vomiting. You want to make sure that you're getting electrolytes into people. And you can indeed make a simple electrolyte solution utilizing salt and water and a little bit of sugar. You can use honey. That goes back to our number 1. But you have the capability of balancing sodium and chloride in the body and sodium and potassium as kind of a derivative of sodium input if you have salt available. You can utilize salt in creating a saline wash for cleansing of wounds, for instance, scrapes or wounds that are dirty. And also you can utilize that same saline wash for eyes as well, for bathing the eyes, for cleansing the eyes. So salt is a really, really important part of a poor man's medical chest. The third, alcohol. Granny Clampett had it right. It's my rheumatism medicine, never more than a thimbleful. Alcohol has been utilized for thousands of years, not only for the allaying of all woes and whatever ails you, but actually it's quite useful when it comes to the preservation long-term of different herbal preparations. That's why we have tinctures, because an alcohol extract of the herbal components is more shelf-stable long-term. Furthermore, alcohol can be utilized indeed as an antiseptic wash topically. It can be added to a hot toddy to help you chill out and to help people relax a little bit. It can also help people actually thin out different secretions. Now, granted, alcohol does dehydrate in and of itself, so you want to make sure that you're having appropriate water intake. But alcohol is utilized in various different applications, not just in the tincture form to make herbs stable, shelf stable long term, but also it's a very valuable component of herbal cough and cold medicine as well. And even non-herbal pharmaceutical cough and cold medicine has a lot of alcohol in it. So you can see that there's a benefit here to the poor man's medical chest. The fourth is cayenne, or really any hot pepper. Now, you can utilize in a pinch, you can utilize Louisiana hot sauce or Tabasco, anything like this that you would find in your kitchen cabinet to accomplish herbal effects in the body. But really having a nice high quality cayenne extract, you can either make it yourself with number 3, the alcohol and the hot peppers, but you can also, for really a very small amount, purchase a cayenne tincture or make your own. And that cayenne tincture is very valuable, not just for the support of normal and healthy blood pressure and circulatory system, but also as a quick reaction if you, for instance, are with someone and you either don't have access to medical care, can't afford medical care, or an ER is a far trip away from you. Cayenne in a pinch can help keep someone going if they're experiencing symptoms of a heart attack, according to Dr. Christopher. And in the School of Natural Healing, where I received my Master Herbalist certification, this is one of the things that we talked about. It's also one of the things that we talk about in my online herbal course on how to use cayenne and how it was historically utilized by herbal practitioners who didn't have access to the fancy pharmaceutical realm that we have nowadays. How it was that cayenne was utilized in order to help support people with heart issues, with lung issues, with circulatory system issues. It's effectively the poor man's medieval blood pressure pill. Cayenne is also utilized extensively in different herbal preparations because it helps to quicken the energy of the body by supporting the circulatory system and thereby supporting the delivery of the main herbal components to wherever it is that you want to go. The fifth in our poor man's medical chest is chamomile. And chamomile, of course, is a tea that many people have sipped. You can find it in hotel lobbies. You can find it pretty much ubiquitously across the United States and the Western world because it is a very gentle tea. Now, why is this part of the poor man's medical chest? Because particularly if you have children or older people that you're caring for, you're not necessarily going to be able to or want to give them any type of medication to suppress a fever if they're dealing with a fever. And chamomile was utilized by the herbal practitioners of old and still is heavily utilized by herbal practitioners today for the support of the body during times of fever and indeed to bring down fevers. And the way that it does this is it supports the body breaking into a good sweat. And so chamomile tea, for instance, or chamomile baths for infants and small children who are dealing with sickness is a great way to help support them and to keep them in a better place where their body can come back to health, particularly if you can't afford medical care, if you can't get to medical care, or it's just not available for whatever reason. Chamomile is a very valuable part of the poor man's medical chest. Another thing that chamomile does for you, particularly in hotter climates, is that when it is served cold as an ice beverage, it helps to cool the body down and really was a remedy from ancient times to reduce the risk for heat stroke in people who are out in the sun. It is a long and storied legacy of usage in the South where people were out toiling and sweating, much like I am today. in the hot sun. Granted, I pick the shade right now because I love y'all and I glisten. I don't sweat because Southern ladies don't sweat. We glisten. Praise the Lord. Chamomile also has a very valuable application for sunburn. So not only is it helpful to drink, but then you can take the tea leaves afterwards, which are actually the blossoms effectively, and once they're cooled, you can apply them to areas of burn. The worst sunburn that I ever had in my life, the only thing that took the pain away was chamomile topical poultice application, and not the spray benzocaine, not the aloe vera gel, and not even straight aloe vera. The only thing that took the pain away from my skin that was just absolutely burning, was awful, was chamomile. The next item in our poor man's medical chest is comfrey. Now, comfrey, friends, is also a very valuable part of our herbal preparedness because comfrey is quite prolific. I actually have some growing right here behind me. Comfrey is also known as knit bone because it had valuable applications in historic times for utilizing as a poultice to re-knit together bones that had been broken and also areas of tissue degradation, areas that had been compromised. And so Comfrey, of course, has been historically utilized mostly as a poultice topically. Comfrey can also be made into a tea, and we talk about this. There are a few caveats you need to be aware of. We cover this in my herbal course online. But Comfrey is a wonderful tea to support cell proliferation and to support the remanufacturing of tissue. So effectively, if you have, for instance, a break, a sprain, some type of area in the body that's compromised, the tissue-wise, and you need to get it going again, Comfrey is your go-to. And there's really nothing remotely close to it in the pharmaceutical world that I've been able to find, which does the same things as the plant. So you can save yourself a lot of time and energy and frustration and heartache by having this very, very valuable herb nearby. The next thing you should have in your poor man's medical chest is a simple bandage. Now, simple bandages, these can be disposable things like Band-Aids, etc. But you can also make simple bandages depending on what the wound is you're dealing with. You can make simple bandages out of just cellophane and honey, going back to our number one. A honey application wrapped in cellophane is a wonderful way to deal with burns. Also, bed sores are another thing that honey has been used and studied actually in clinical applications for. So having a bandage, something to basically create a barrier between the compromised area of skin and the outside world, that's what you're going to need. Now, for improvised bandages, particularly bandages that are going to be soaking up a lot of body fluids, you need to have a few criteria met. They must be very clean, and they must be light color, and they need to be a natural fiber that is absorbent. So those criteria have got to be met. We also cover that fairly extensively in my online courses about how to improvise bandages and what needs to be there. We also cover this in my in-person classes. But the reality is, friends, that you have to have a bandage. You have to have some way to create a barrier between skin that is vulnerable and that's compromised and the outside world. The next one in the poor man's medical chest is Benadryl. Now, Benadryl is very valuable from the pharmaceutical way of things because it helps to interdict allergic reactions. And because we have so many people that are running around with really severe allergic reactions, it's something that I think is very valuable in the pharmaceutical world to actually have in your medical kit. You want that for sure. And when you look at the applications for anticholinergic drugs in general, they do have a place in the spectrum of people management, particularly for not only the antihistamine action that they do have, but also there's some other actions that these medications have that are used off-label, and it's very valuable to have them. The next one is olive oil. Now, olive oil you may not be thinking of as part of the poor man's medical chest because olive oil, particularly good olive oil, can be kind of expensive, but a little goes a long way here. And olive itself is very rich in various different medicinal properties, but particularly olive oil not only is something that you can eat. There are a few things in here we've talked about that you can eat, but olive oil makes a great massage oil, and the oil itself not only is good for just from the mechanics and the physics aspect of being able to massage better, but good quality olive oil will actually have medicinal properties that permeate into the tissue. So for instance, one of the applications in the Oregon Trail, like folks who are going out on Oregon Trail and the pioneers of old in the United States, they would utilize olive oil in cases of chest congestion and also for respiratory diseases to help not only just break up that chest congestion, but also when you massage effectively these areas, and you can also use percussion therapy to do this, you're allowing the medicinal quality of that oil to permeate into the structures directly below. And that is the benefit with having a good quality oil, such as olive oil, that you can utilize in massage and helping the body to break up that stagnancy. And another application you may not have thought about is in lymphatic massage. So we talk about this in my courses, but the reality of lymphatic massage, the United States and the Western world really don't put the focus on lymphatic drainage that the East does. And that's where I really think that we can learn from the Asiatic lines of medicine and understanding. Because the lymphatic system in the body is effectively the sludge collection. And it does not have an independent pump. So the only way that that sludge gets processed and cleared out of the body is with muscular contraction. Well, what do you do with someone who is either bedridden or someone who is, for instance, mobility challenged and they can't get up and they can't do those muscle contractions as effectively as needed? You're going to have to do that passively, and you can do that with massage. And olive oil is a fantastic oil to utilize for that purpose, to help the lymph system clear itself and bring the body back to a clean slate. So number 10, and perhaps something that you might think is ubiquitous and cheap now, but it was not so much back in the day, and certainly not until the medieval ages when it was widely starting to be used, and that is soap, my friends. Soap is a game changer. And when you go to the Dollar Tree now, even though it seems to be the $2 tree now, you can still find bars of soap, and it's a very valuable thing to have because bars of soap allow you to create little slivers where you can wash your hands, especially if you don't have gloves. You are going to need to be working with clean hands if you're caring for someone or caring for yourself. You need a way to wash your hands and make sure they're clean. Also your body, and making sure that you are keeping clean, but also keeping your hair clean and keeping your skin clean. Soap is very, very valuable, not only as a cleansing agent, but as a disinfecting agent. So much of the ick that gets transported on our hands, the germs and the bacteria and the nastiness in general, can be cleared away with just water and friction. But if you put together the bubbling action, the surfactant action of the soap just breaking things up and then getting really, really good clean down inside the crevices of your fingers and your hands and washing them off with that good water, you have a clean slate to work with your hands, and you're not going to be transporting as much ick back and forth. And particularly if you're in a situation where, for instance, let's say that you're with a woman who's about to give birth, right? And you're sitting there like, I don't know what I've got, but here she is and she's doing her thing and I don't have any gloves. You better be scrubbing the living daylights out of your hands, friends. Because one of the key risk factors for a woman developing childbed fever, the key maternal morbidity and mortality risk factors, is how dirty are the hands, or relatively how clean are the hands of the birth attendant, and where are they putting their hands, and are they going up inside. So I know this might seem a little bit like, whoa, what a shocker at the end. But soap is something that is so cheap right now that was not cheap in previous times. And that is a major, major important thing when you're looking at decreasing the risk overall of people getting sick. So I hope that this video was valuable for you. If you did like this video, please share it with one person who you know would be benefited from it. If you like the content on this channel, remember to subscribe, because it is free to subscribe. There are still a few things that are free in this world. It may not be anything that we've mentioned here. You may have to pay for the 10 of the poor man's medical kit that I mentioned, but it is free to subscribe here still on YouTube. Also, guys, I do teach courses online, and I'm thinking about bringing back the in-person classes. We'll just see what the demand is like. But the online courses, friends, are a great way to dip your toe in. Also, friends, I have a free back catalog of information here on YouTube. I've been making videos for over a decade now, and all of those videos are free to watch as well. On our Patreon page, we also have newsletters and updates where I interact with folks there. The Patreon page is a great way to really interact with other like-minded people as well. I hope you apply these, friends, and I hope this video helped you to be able to cobble together the 10 things in your poor man's medical kit. Even if you don't have much money, hopefully this video gave you some ideas as to how to really take positive steps for not very much cost that can help cut down on the difficulty of experiencing different risk factors for disease, and also, friends, to help you live a healthier life. May the Lord bless and keep you all. For now, it's Patriot signing off, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.